Hi, my name is John Augusta. I am a Vice President with the Human Services Research Institute. I'm very excited to be in Virginia because we were selected by the state leadership to help the state with a redesign of its service system for people with intellectual disabilities and other developmental disabilities. It's a 12-month project. It's going to require us to complete about 17 different tasks, but at the end of the day, we want to help the state leadership reconfigure, change, transform, redesign the service system for people with disabilities. It's a daunting task. It's one that comes at a wonderful time, though, really. We've had in the state recently a settlement with the Department of Justice. It requires the state to make many changes in their system. For instance, over the next 10 years, there'll be over 4,000 new people receiving services. Hopefully those people will all be coming off a wait list. The state is required to create new residential options of 4 beds or less for people, create a crisis system for people with behavioral challenges, and also to transition 800 people from the training centers into the community. Any one of those projects, goals, objectives would be quite something to do, and Virginia is tasked with doing them all at the same time. And our job at HSRI with our team is to help the state to think about all of that deliberately, make a plan, and hopefully at the end of the day be able to implement a plan to redesign the system. Now, people often will get caught up in all of the what and the how of it. What are you going to do? Well, we're going to relocate 800 people. What are you going to do? Well, we're going to create a crisis system or new residential options. And the how. How are you going to do it? How are you going to relocate those folks or create that crisis system or serve all those more people? So the what and the how is what people focus on, but we like to stop and think about, first and foremost, about the why. Why are you doing this? In Virginia, you are not making these changes because of the DOJ settlement or because people feel that the systems ought to be changed. The why of it has to do with how we think about people with disability. The goal is, the absolute why here is to help people with disabilities live the life they prefer in the community with the supports they need. That is the center theme that we work with. And a secondary theme is that we have to do all that in a way that we can afford in Virginia. It has to be affordable, sustainable, and so forth. So the idea here is not to build a system that past generations of Virginians would have been proud of, but to rather restructure the system in ways that people with disabilities today and tomorrow would be proud of. Because after all, whatever system there is in Virginia was built over time, and it is the mark that was left by others. The question here, and the opportunity in front of us, is going forward, what mark will all of you make? What mark will there be in this system that you will make about the design of this service system? The first phase requires us to think about what kinds of supports people need to live their life, and then to structure the home and community-based waivers under Medicaid to pay for a good number of those kinds of supports. So we want to rework the home and community-based waiver structure in the state so that people can get access to the kinds of services they really want and prefer. Then the second phase would be to how do we distribute these resources in a fair way so that people get what they need, no more and no less. And that's going to require us to do a cost study to see what these kinds of services would cost, would require us to build a new service reimbursement rate schedule for service providers, would require us to, in the end, push it all together so that people's assessed need matches up with the budget allocations that they receive so they can receive the services that they need. So all of that ties together, and it's going to involve people being assessed using the supports intensity scale, and I'm sure you can learn about that through another presentation or somewhere else, but everybody will be assessed using the supports assessment scale so that we can see the level of need people have. There will be an understanding of what that need translates to in terms of a reasonable budget allocation for that person. Individuals will be able to hopefully develop a person-centered plan tied to that budget, receive the services that they need so that they can achieve the outcomes in their lives that they're looking for. So that's the plan for us. So we'll be working very hard on that. But before any of that begins, really, we'll also be working with families and self-advocates and others and talking with them through public forums around the state so that we can get a better understanding of the lives people want. So rolling this all together, we have a lot of work to do. We're very interested in helping the state meet its objectives with regard to the Department of Justice settlement. We will help the state to restructure their waiver strategy in order to bring down Medicaid dollars, but to do it in a way that in the end fits together with the why of all this, the why being that people receive the supports they need to live the life they prefer in the community. So, at the end of the day, though, I have to say that in coming to Virginia for a good number of years, I have seen so many good people across this state, and I've always gotten the impression that Virginia was a state where so much of people's best intentions were corked up somehow in a bottle. And I think right now, today, with the Department of Justice settlement and leadership at the state level and the willingness to redesign the system, it's a time when the cork comes out of the bottle. And all of the greatness that has been sitting latent in Virginia just gets to come out of the bottle now. And I think that Virginia is just going to, at the end of the day, offer some terrific services to people so that they can live in the community with the supports they prefer, and with to live the lives they prefer with the supports they need. So, thank you.